Yes, I'm in the same PJs I was wearing in the 24-70 to 24-70 shootout, but hey, I'm in my PJs. It's the weekend. What do you expect? After doing the RF 24-70 2.8 versus the EF 24-70 f4 comparison, it kind of got me thinking what the 35mm focal length looked like with the RF and the EF lens, as well as with my EF 16-35. So in Lightroom here, I took a total of 6 photos, all at 35mm. Let's check it out. The RF lens. This is the RF lens here. This is the EF 24-70. It's different, as you can tell. The EF 24-70 it's shifted over, which is, it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. And then the 16-35 versus the RF. Okay, so these 35s look pretty comparable. Looks like the EF 16-35's 35 is a little bit wider, maybe a millimeter wider. But I mean, you can only do so much. You can only make it so accurate with those numbers, so that could be user error as well. So what we can tell here is that the EF 24-70 is kind of different. Not too sure why, but it's different. And the EF 16-35 is it looks pretty okay. Those 35s, the RF and the 16-35 f4 EF, these both look comparable. So that RF's 24-70 is 35mm, and the EF 16-35 f4 35mm, they both look good. So I focused in on the pickup here. So let's zoom in and see the detail. On the RF lens, it's very sharp. So if you can tell, you can almost read the pickup. You can almost read what the pickup model is, which is awesome. If we do that same thing on the EF 24-70, let's zoom on in. Not as distinguishable. The RF, you can see a little bit more detail here. EF, little bit less detail. EF 16-35. EF 16-35, it kind of looks similar to me in sharpness, but the RF looks like it handled this better. It just all around looks like it handled this better when it comes to sharpness all around. I can tell you that the EF 16-35 looks sharper than the RF 24-70. Or sorry, the EF 16-35 looks sharper than the EF 24-70, because those are both the f4. But the RF 24-70 f2.8, that one does look like it is the sharpest. So yeah, that's the difference of 35mm there. Let's take a look at the f7 aperture. So this is f7. Let's go in on that pickup again. Yeah, I mean, it looks a little softer actually. Let's go f7 on the 24-70. But this looks softer than the RF, so the RF does look a little sharper still than the EF 24-70. So RF 24-70 f2.8, EF 24-70 f4. The RF 24-70 looks like it wins again. Let's take a look at the EF 16-35 f4. Honestly, that 35 looks as sharp to me as this 35. So the EF 16-35 f4 is still an incredible lens. That is really sharp. I'm impressed with the EF 16-35. So with this comparison, what I learned from doing this is that the RF 24-70 f2.8 is going to be my next lens I buy. The reason for that is because my EF 16-35 looks like it is comparably sharp with that RF 24-70. The RF 24-70, I use my 16-35 more for filming, so maybe the RF 15-35 might be the better choice. But anytime I need that 2.8 aperture, I can always go to the 24mm on that RF lens, and I'll still get that 2.8. It won't quite be a 16mm, but 24 is pretty wide. The EF lens, the EF 16-35, is much sharper than the EF 24-70 f4. So because of how much sharper the EF 16-35 f4 lens is over the 24-70 f4 lens, that leads me to believe that I should be upgrading my 24-70 as soon as possible with the RF 2.8 so I can get the maximum sharpness on my product and portrait photography. So that's what I learned here today. Again, this is very specific to me, but if you got something out of this, great. I learned something today. I learned that the 16-35 f4 is a dang good lens. I learned that the RF 24-70 is also a very good lens. And then the EF 24-70 f4, it's time to give that up. Time to retire it, and time to upgrade to this RF lens, because the RF lens, the RF glass is insane. I love it. And then eventually I'll upgrade to the RF 15-35 f2.8 as well. Can't wait to upgrade those lenses. My 70-200, probably keep it in f4 for now. I like the internal zoom, and I don't use it as much as I use my 16-35 or my 24-70, so getting the RF 15-35 and the RF 24-70 is the right choice for me. And eventually, hopefully, a used R5. If you are upgrading to the R3 and you are selling your R5, maybe drop me a comment. Let me know. We'll be in talks. So thanks for watching. If you again, if you got anything, cool. If you didn't, it's all good. I'm doing this for me. So thanks. Bye.